Reproductive rights have again caught national attention as the fight turns to Illinois, where several Democratic congressional members are taking heat for siding with GOP colleagues to challenge Roe v. Wade at the Supreme Court. OR joined NOW, Friends Who March, Handmaids, and other groups, as well as constituents, to challenge Illinois' 3rd Congressional District Representative Dan Lipinsky on his decision to join the controversial Hope Memorial for Women's Amicus brief to petition the Supreme Court for guidance on a prior ruling. They hope to push for added requirements that abortion services be performed by physicians with admitting privileges at local hospitals. The brief is petitioning the Supreme Court for a review that does have the potential to overturn Roe v. Wade. Lipinsky is a pro-life, anti-choice Democrat who inherited his congressional seat from his popular father. Lipinsky made waves earlier this year when DCCC chair and congressional colleague Cheri Bustos, herself a member of the center-right organization Third Way Democrats, announced not only their blacklist policy, which shunned any company or consultant who helps challengers to incumbents, but also threw their full support behind Dan Lipinsky. The DCCC insists that the policy benefits the party, with a spokesperson quoted as saying, "This is a membership organization, and our priority is its members, and we believe that it is an imperative in 2020 that Democratic time, talent, and financial resources are focused on expanding the map into Republican-held parts of the country and defeating Republicans." Here's a brief look at the action that happened in Dan Lipinsky's office earlier this week.
But most recently, you're signing on to the Amicus brief. And I was actually quite stunned when I read your summation that you felt that signing on was simply because you wanted a clean, safe environment for abortions in, where was it, Louisiana maybe, or wherever that was. But you knew full well that, and that you didn't feel that asking for that in that state via the Amicus brief would produce an undue burden on, but you knew that the purpose of this brief was to overturn Roe versus Wade. How could you possibly say that overturning Roe versus Wade would not be an undue burden for women all across this country, for people of LGBTQ, for girls, how could it not be an undue burden to lose that law?
Okay, first thing is I believe in that statement I was quoting the author of that law, who was an African American female Democratic state representative in Louisiana, and that's what she said the purpose of the law was.
Here's what Lipinsky didn't say. Rep. Katrina Jackson is also a member of Democrats for Life and recently told NBC News reporter Robin Young that African American babies are being aborted at alarming numbers and calls it modern-day genocide. Jackson supports Louisiana's efforts to adopt a total ban on abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, with no exceptions for rape or incest, because, as she said, abortion shouldn't be touted as the answer for African Americans who live in poverty situations. She, like Lipinsky, are being told that they are not welcome in the party. Newly elected Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot recently tweeted her disapproval of anti-choice Democrats, saying that there's no room for Democrats like Dan Lipinsky. The brief is petitioning the Supreme Court for a review that has the potential to overturn Roe versus Wade. The reason this case has raised alarm is because the availability of standalone clinics is scarce, and the overwhelming majority of abortions performed in the United States are chemical, meaning women are prescribed medication that induces a miscarriage and self-administered medication in the privacy of their own homes, not a clinic at all. The Guttmacher Institute collects national data and reports that in 2017, 30% of clinics provided only medication abortions, not surgical at all. And medical abortions increased 5% in the year 2001, all the way up to present numbers of 39% in 2017, while the overall numbers of abortions across the country has dramatically declined. 75% of abortion patients in 2014 were poor, having income below the federal poverty level of $15,000 for a family of two. They were also low income, having an income between 100 and 199% of the federal poverty level. In 2019, 50% of U.S. women of the reproductive age, that's nearly 40 million women, live in states that were considered hostile to abortion rights. Contrary to the assertions made by Representative Dan Lipinsky, national data published by the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine confirmed in a 2018 report that abortion is both safe and effective. The brief in question itself also seeks to undermine the legal authority of doctors, hospitals, and medical groups to assert standing in court on behalf of women's rights. Their argument calls into question whether abortion providers can be presumed to have third-party standing to challenge health and safety regulations on behalf of their patients, absent a closer relationship with their patients and a hindrance to their patients' ability to sue on their own behalf. Imagine being faced as a private citizen with bearing the cost of a legal challenge like this on your own, without the aid of medical and reproductive rights groups to help in this fight. Most households cannot afford an unexpected expense of $500, let alone mount a legal challenge consisting of hundreds of thousands of dollars. A key metric that anti-abortion advocates overlook is the effect of income inequality and a lack of access to care that has a direct effect on the abortion rate overall. In fact, one metric that tells a clear story is when Colorado made contraceptive free. That year, abortion rates dropped by nearly 40%. Likewise, enacting policies like Medicare for All, federal jobs guarantee, and economic growth provided by the Green New Deal are all expected to have a dramatic effect not only on raising personal incomes, but creating better opportunities to access health care, which would help lower the abortion rate, as shown in the Colorado example. It would also dramatically curb maternal mortality rates, and the United States now leads the world in this dubious distinction. The good news for progressives is that Cheri Bustos and Dan Lipinsky both have progressive primary challengers. Dan Lipinsky is once again being challenged by OR-endorsed candidate Marie Newman, and Cheri Bustos is being challenged by a gentleman out of Peoria, Spanky Edwards. Reporting for Progressive Insider, I am Carrie Barber.